Hi, IPC. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. If I know it was kind of short, but we have to get through this week, and then we have a 3-day weekend, and then a 3-day school week, and then another 3-day weekend. So more breaks are just around the corner, so please stick with us. I do know that y'all have been having trouble with this format, with me recording and you guys working along with me, but please just stick with it. This is the best option that I have for y'all. It's better than me just giving you a worksheet and telling you to figure it out on your own. I know sometimes these videos are boring, but we do need to get through this just as if I was there in class with y'all. So please make sure you are keeping up on your work. I am still taking grades for your class. They will be posted. So please make sure you are keeping up with everything. I do believe in y'all. I know you can do it. We just have to adjust to each other again. Okay? Today you should be getting 3 worksheets. The first one looks like this. It has IPC Unit 6 on the front, and then it has your weekly questions on the back. You should have also gotten this STAR IPC reference materials worksheet with formulas on the front and back. You actually don't have the periodic table or the blank page at the end because we already went over our chemistry. And then last but not least, you have the worksheet. The top of it says Word Problem Primer, or how to solve word problems. So we are going to be looking at those 3 worksheets today. For this one, the IPC STAR reference materials. This one you need to hold on to for the rest of the semester. I would highly recommend stapling this to the back cover of your composition notebook. I would staple it, not glue it, because there is the back half. So I would staple the top of it and then kind of fold over what is left over, or cutting the sides to make it fit. However you want to do it, just make sure that you have these formulas. We will be going over all these formulas, so don't let this big old list scare you. We will work through all of these together. This is just kind of a reminder for you. Okay? So you can do that after I finish with the video, but for right now, please go to this worksheet, IPC Unit 6, Position, Speed, and Acceleration. We're going to go over the vocab together really quick so you can hear how the words are pronounced. We're going to go over the definitions, and then I'm going to give you a few reminders before we start on our worksheet together. So our vocab, our first word is acceleration. Acceleration is a change in speed and or direction of an object's motion. Average speed is the total distance traveled by the object divided by the elapsed time to cover that distance. Constant speed is the speed maintained consistently over time. Dependent variable, you should have heard this in your Algebra 1 class. A dependent variable is a variable whose value depends on that of another. Displacement is a vector quantity which measures the shortest distance between an object's initial and final position. Okay, we will go over that. I know that's a complicated definition, but we will go over that a little bit more as we get to working with it. So don't freak out if you don't know what I meant by that. Distance is an amount of space between 2 things or people. Independent variable is a variable whose variation does not depend on that of another. Instantaneous speed. Ooh, I forgot to underline that one. So you can underline that one. Okay. There we go. Instantaneous speed is the speed of an object at a certain time. Motion is the action or process of moving or being moved. Position is the location of an object at any given time. Reference point is a basis or standard for evaluation, assessment, or comparison, a criterion. Slope is a surface of which one end or side is at a higher level than another, a rising or falling surface. Speed is the distance of an object, moves per period of time. Okay? Time is defined as the duration in which all things happen, or a precise instant that something happens. Okay? And then last but not least, we have velocity. Velocity is the speed of something in a given direction. Okay? Your reminders for this unit reminder is that you can ask questions through email, giving a note to Ms. Gonzalez to pass on to me, posting it on the Padlet for everybody to kind of work together and see what we're asking in each class, or just coming up and asking me in the hall. Okay. Sorry about the phone ringing. Also, the second reminder is that you can go here, https://padlet.com/brandy_callis/IPC Callis 1920. This link is posted on your Google Classroom, so please, if you have questions or need to watch the videos again, this is where they are all going to be posted. This is also where you can ask your questions. If you want to see where that is, you can go to your Google Classroom, just like this. I'm going to use second period as an example. Let it load for a second. Go over to the top here where it says classwork. And then right down here to the third little dot, it says links. Open that. And the second one is https://padlet.com. Again, /brandy_callis/IPC Callis 1920. It leads you to this page. Okay, this page is where I post the videos. In this column, you can ask questions. All you have to do is click this add button and you can write your questions there. Please make sure that you post your name as the title so I know who is asking. I'll also post cool articles. If you find a cool science article you want to post here, you can. And then study materials, this is where I'm going to put any of the aids that I'm giving you. I will be putting a link to the STAR reference sheet that I gave you today and more. They're going to be posted there. Okay, so this is kind of our landing page this semester. I know we used Google Classroom a lot last semester, and we're still going to use it. We're just not going to use it nearly as much this semester. Okay, any posted material is probably going to be posted here unless I tell you otherwise. Okay, like I said, all videos are posted here along with the study guides and more. On the back side of that sheet, you do have your IPC questions for this week. These are due in addition to any worksheets that I pass out. These are going to be your other grade for the week. And this is kind of where I check in to make sure that you are understanding what is going on. Make sure you have your name and your period, and that you turn it in Friday before you leave your class. I will be grading it on Mondays and hopefully getting it back to you by Tuesdays, so you're not going to be losing the notes that you have on the first page. Each day, you're going to get an answer to the questions in the videos or the worksheets that we cover, so don't freak out if you don't know what the answers to these questions are just yet. We will be getting to them. Okay? Going back to the STAR IPC reference materials, like I said, we're going to be going over all of these, actually the majority of them today with our worksheet, so just have this to the side, but then please bring up this worksheet. It says Word Problem Primer or How to Solve Word Problems. I will give you just a minute to pull this out to make sure that you have this in front of you and you're on the right sheet. Okay, so it starts off, how are you? You know that this means, like, how are you? It's shorthand, abbreviation, or code, and it's way quicker to write. Well, so is F equals MA. You just don't know the code yet. So all formulas are just shorthand. They mean something. And what you're going to be learning today is what these letters stand for. In order to read the code, you have to know what the letters stand for. This table will tell you many of them. There will be other letters too, and you're going to have to add them as you learn them. So this chart, this little table right here, shows you the variable in the far left-hand side, the quantity or what it stands for in the middle, and then the standard units that we measure it in on the far right side. So the first one is lowercase a, that stands for acceleration, and we measure that in meters per second squared. Next up is capital D for distance, and we measure that in meters or lowercase m. Next, we have capital E, which stands for energy, which is measured in joules, which we abbreviate with a capital J. We have capital F, which is force, which we measure in newtons, or capital N. F with this subscript of W is called the force of weight. We also measure that in newtons with a capital N. We also have lowercase g, which is acceleration due to gravity. This is actually a constant, okay? So it is always going to be lowercase g equals 9.8 meters per second squared. So this is how fast gravity pulls on a falling object. Lowercase m stands for mass, and we measure that in kilograms or kg, both lowercase. I wouldn't use the lowercase m for meters, which we will see later on. It does say lowercase m up here for meters. You may want to do a capital M for one of them. Just make sure you know which one is which. Don't get them confused. We have a lowercase p for momentum. Why is it p? Well, we have a lot of m vocab words, and they just decided on p. Okay, we measure that in kilograms, meters per second. Okay, I know this is long. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Capital S is speed, and we measure that in meters per second. Capital T is time, and we measure that in either seconds, minutes, or hours, whichever one is the easiest. We have lowercase v for velocity, which is measured in meters per second as well. And then last but not least, we have capital MA, which is mechanical advantage, and we actually do not have any units with that. Okay. The units are very important because word problems will not tell you what the letters stand for, but the units will. So in this case, F equals MA. F is force in newtons, M is mass in kilograms, and acceleration is A is acceleration, and we measure that in meters per second squared. So now, what do you do with all this? What do you do with all this information? We need to learn what you're supposed to do with the letters, and that is math. I know, your favorite subject ever, but we do need to have it here with science. So once you know what the letters mean, you have to know what math function to perform, and this table does tell you. So m plus a obviously is addition. This just means m plus a. M minus a is subtraction, m minus a. MA stuck together is multiplication. It means m times a. And then m slash a is division, and that means m divided by an a. So F equals MA means force equals mass times the acceleration. I know this is review to you. It's just a refresher. Stick with me. Okay, now we have to learn how to move the numbers around the formulas. You should be a little bit familiar with this through your Algebra 1 class. Sorry about that. Needed to clear my throat really quick. So we are here learning how to move the numbers around the formulas, and there is a formula chart on the back to help you. So often you're going to have to solve for a different letter in the formula. You will have to know how to use the math for this. So if m plus a, if you're trying to move the m or a to the other side of the formula, then you are going to subtract by m or a. If there is m minus a and you're trying to get one of the a onto the other side, then you are going to add by a on both sides. If it's m times a, then divide by m or a to both sides in order to move that variable to the other side. And then last but not least, if it's m divided by a, then you're going to multiply both sides by a. Make sure that whatever you do to one side of an equation, you do to the other side too, or the equation is no longer equal. So do not forget that you have to do it to both sides in order for it to work. So if F equals MA, then to get A, we divide by M on both sides. So for here, F equals MA, we're going to divide both sides by M. And the m's cancel out on the right side, so it equals A equals force over mass. Okay? So that's how we got the A over to the other side. There is a handy dandy five-step process to solve these word problems. Step 1 is to assign the letters or the variables to the numbers given. Step 2 is to find a formula that uses those variables. Step 3 is to solve for the letter you're trying to find. Step 4 is to put the numbers back in for the variables. And then step 5 is to calculate an answer and not forget the units. So we're going to do a few examples on the back of this paper. Flip your paper over. Okay, up here, this little triangle thing means change of. We will call it delta. So delta S, or the triangle S, is known as delta S, and it means the change of speed. So delta T is change of time. Okay. We have speed right here, which is delta D divided by delta T. Acceleration, which is delta S divided by delta T. Delta T equals T2 minus T1. Delta D, which is D2 minus D1. Average speed, or S average, equals distance total divided by time total. Okay. The net force, or F net, is mass times acceleration. F net can also be the force position minus the force negative, force positive minus force negative. FW equals mass times grams, I'm pretty sure. We haven't used that one yet, so you'll see that in a little bit. P equals M over V. Which one is that one? Well, we move up here back to the formula. P equals momentum. So P equals mass times, P equals, mass times velocity. Okay. M subscript L, V subscript L equals M subscript R, V subscript R. We're going to get to this one much later, so don't worry about this one. MA, mechanical advantage, equals the force out divided by the force in. Mechanical advantage also deals with distance early and distance review. And then arm in, we're going to learn this one later, so don't worry about that one right now. So using the units, match the variables on the left with the quantities on the right. So acceleration, you're going to see which one of these actually matches acceleration. How do you do that? You go back up to this chart, you find acceleration, you find what the units are, in this case, mass divided by, m divided by s, so meters per second squared. I'm sorry, I mixed that up. Meters per second squared is for acceleration. So over here, we're going to look for which one says meters per second squared. Make sure you're finding the one that says meters per second squared. So the answer for 1 is going to be your meters per second squared. Okay. For number 2, you're just using that chart again. What does E stand for? Well, you move up to the chart, you find E. E equals energy, and we measure that in joules. Okay? What is delta and what does it mean? Well, that's all listed right up here. So I'm not going to answer that one for you. Here you are just going to fill in the math function. So is it division? Is it multiplication? So this one would read MA equals M times A. Okay? S equals S what? Okay? You're going to fill in those. For this one, you are going to tell me how do you move the variable that they list to the other side of the formula. So in this case, S equals the change in distance over the change in time. So how would you move delta T over to the other side? Well, you're going to have to multiply both sides. Okay? So you'll just hit multiply for right there. For these bottom ones, I want you to try on your own for today. We will actually be working on these first thing tomorrow for your warm-up. So you do need to hold on to this worksheet and the worksheet from last week. Okay? I'm sorry, you guys turned in the worksheet from last week. So you'll be getting the worksheet from last week back to you ASAP. Okay, so take the rest of this period to finish working on this worksheet. Please turn it in to Ms. Gonzalez when you are finished. She's going to get it to me. We're going to grade it and give it right back to you so you can use this for a reference later on. Again, if you have any questions, come find me, post onto that Padlet, send me an email, or give a note to Ms. Gonzalez, and I will try to answer the questions that you have. Hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see y'all later.